I have entitled this video, Stop Before the Job Goes Wrong. I've only ever had one job go wrong on me, which is when I was trying to unload in the pouring rain at a military base in the dark, in the morning, in the wind, and I had a one-legged pallet and I put it on the tail lift and a box fell off it. It cost me about 60, 70 quid. I've had worse news. But the other day could have been horrific. So I'm going to talk you through it. You can press the button when you go, yeah, shouldn't have done that, Pete. Yeah, shouldn't have done that. And then I'm going to give you my advice on what you do moving forward. So I had a job. They needed an 18-ton tail lift to pick up from A to B. And I said to myself, most of the time you don't need an 18-ton tail lift because most of the time you'll get loaded with forks, comes off on a tail. Loaded at a distribution centre, comes off at a residential. Doesn't matter how much it weighs going down. It's going up, it's a problem because the pump needs to lift it up. So I've got there. It's a school. In the playground, they've got 2 blue wrapped pallets. And the woman said they've already sent in a 7.5 ton. The guy put the pump truck underneath it, went like that and went, nope, I'm leaving. So I said, no, don't worry, my tail lift can take 1.5 ton. These things weighed 1.5 ton. Now it's not easy to drag a 1.5 ton pallet on your own anyway, even if you're on the flat and nothing's completely on the flat, like at least it's school playground, it didn't have like stones or anything like that. So what I've done is I've got it on the tail lift, which is at an angle. That wasn't easy. The tail lift up, raised with the bed, and then I'm starting to drag it into the back of the lorry. But as I'm pulling on the pump truck to drag it in, the force of me going like this is making the pallet go like that. And every time I try and pull it, this is going further and further that way. And I'm thinking to myself, if I keep going, because I've got this thing, get it on, get the job done, you will get it done. You've never failed a job yet, I've never failed a delivery yet. Get it done. And then I'm thinking, you know what's going to happen? That blue shrink wrap's going to break, and whatever's on that pallet is going to fall off all over the playground. So I've gone, no. So I backed it down, I've got it off the pallet. That wasn't easy. Getting it off the tail lift wasn't even that easy. Then I've looked next to me, they've got a telehandler part there. And so I said to the headmistress, you got a fork truck there? She said, yeah, we got the keys. Oh, and I can drive a fork truck. Kind of can. Done it a couple of times. She said, are you insured? I said, yes. I'm not qualified to drive a fork truck and I'm not insured. But this desire for me to get the job done, I thought, no, I'm not going to fail this. So she got the keys, I got in the fork truck, couldn't get it started. Just couldn't get it started. Which in retrospect is probably a good thing. Dropped the pallet, I found out subsequently the pallet had on it rubber for school playgrounds. Each one of these bags was worth 80 quid, there was 40 on there, that's 3,200 quid. Fork truck, £250,000 quid. Break the fork truck, it's a lot more than dropping a pallet, although you still don't want to drop 3 grand's worth of material, do you, like, you know? Couldn't get it started. So I went out, give the keys back. I said, I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you, I'm actually not qualified or insured. I just wanted to get your school playground clear. Then I rang the shipper and explained the situation. The shipper rang the guy whose job it was. He said, you're using the wrong key. The key that you're using to open the door is the one that also turns the key off. I had 2 keys. That's the immobiliser key. So then I've gone back and seen the headmistress and gone, look, I've spoken to the guy. He's given me permission to drive the fork truck. Although I'm not insured, I do know what I'm doing to a degree. And she said, bearing in mind what you've told me, no. I said, fair enough. So then I rang the ship and said, I'm going to have to call this. I cannot get this pallet on. And she said, have you got any shrink wrap? And I said, you're not listening to me. Shrink wrap is not going to do it. If I tried, she said, the guy says, can you try and get it on? They've got forks at the other end. I said, I can try, but if I try, I will fail. And then it's all going to go funny. What happened in the end was, they said, the guy who told me how to drive the fork truck, because the job was only a short job, he said, I can be there in 3/4 of an hour. So I waited for 3/4 of an hour. The guy who actually knows how to drive the fork truck came up, put the stuff on with the forks, I strapped it, we drove it down to where it had to come off, it came off with the forks, and the job got done. But the moral of this story is, don't be like me. Don't be so desperate to get the job done that you're actually going to do something that's potentially going to put you in trouble. Now, don't be wrong. Don't be Mickey Mouse about it. Don't go, oh, I've dragged it once, it don't work. Try your hardest, but try your hardest within sensible boundaries, and try to communicate with the shipper and go, well, what if we do this? What if we do this? When it was all done, they said, thank you very much for the extra distance you went to do it. Admittedly, I did ask them for a bit more money. I didn't quite get all I hoped for, but I got an hour's waiting time. I got what the job was worth. It was painful. The whole job was, I picked it up late because I've had that lately, and that's all I did that day. But it happens sometimes. But the point is, rather than going thinking desperate to do it, I'll get it on, and then you break something, or look at that pallet, be sensible. If it's got light boxes on the top and heavy boxes on the bottom, go, that's going to collapse. We need to do something about that now. It's a haste speed thing, you know. But yeah, don't be like me. Ring the shipper, explain the situation, and if they turn around and go, can you do this, can you do this? They don't know, they're sitting behind an office. Just say no. Ain't happening. Because otherwise, you'll lose money. And the idea is to take care and take money.